Welcome to the Oswego Alumni Podcast. I'm your host, Dee Perkins. Today on the podcast, we are excited to catch up with Justin Dobrow from the class of 2017. Justin has already done some incredible things since he has been graduated just, it feels like, a couple of years ago. He recently was promoted to Director of Partner Solutions at NBCUniversal's Peacock. He is also newly the president of the Oswego Alumni Board, of which we know each other from. We have a lot of laughs. He's someone who's never stopped giving back to Oswego, whether it's mentoring students, emceeing events, or helping bring alumni together. And with the Comm dinner coming up and Hewitt Union reopening after its big redesign, it's the perfect time to talk about his journey, his memories from campus, and what he sees ahead for the alumni community. Justin, it is so good to have you here.
Dee, it's a joy to be here. I'm so excited. I love this podcast. I love what you do. Thank you for all the time you take to meet all these individuals and talk to all these people. It's really such a joy, and it brings such a light to my day hearing all these stories about Oswego.
Tell the truth, we are on the alumni board together, and we do have a lot of laughs.
We have a lot of laughs, maybe more than you should on a nonprofit.
Now that you're president, it gets worse.
Yes, it does. It does.
The board tends to pick on its president, so
Hey, that's okay. We can bring it on.
Bring it on. All right, let's start at the beginning of your journey. What drew a kid from Long Island to SUNY Oswego?
Yeah, it's a great story. You know what? And maybe many people can relate to this. At the end of the day, financials, but let's get into it a little bit before. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Does anybody when they're, 16, 17 years old trying to apply to colleges? I don't know. If you do, great. Love that for you. For me, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I got involved though with the high school filming sports thing. I didn't even like sports that much. Anybody who knows me knows, like, Justin is not a sports guy, but I did like the media and like making sports packages and sort of the editing piece and the technology piece that comes along with it. And so for me, that was like a big part of my journey and getting to like really be involved in knowing what I liked. And so through that sort of process of doing making these little videos and doing this thing, I wanted to do it more. And so then it was, okay, let's explore what kind of options are there in media or jobs in media that I could do. And so I started applying to schools, and I applied to like Boston and Emerson and Ithaca and Syracuse and Oswego. And of them all, Oswego was not just financially, that obviously helps, but its program, it's sort of a grassroots environment. We all know this. You're listening to this podcast, you're probably a fan of Oswego in some way, you know this, but like it was a roll up your sleeves culture. And I guarantee you, I learned more about how to get things done and conquer challenges through the opportunities I had at Oswego, because it was like, whether it was at WTOP, the student-run TV station, where we wanted to do a red carpet show before, the media summit, and our XLR cable is broken, and we have to, find a new one, and somebody's got one for their guitar and their dorm, like whatever. We would just figure it out. We'd roll up our sleeves. We would get it done. And that is grit that I use today in my actual professional career. And it's absolutely 100% tied to the experience that I was able to have at Oswego. So, I'm very thankful that I had that option, and that's where I landed. So, that's how, a little Long Island boy got to SUNY Oswego. And by the way, I met my wife in Oswego. I'm so lucky. Like, she's a Rochester girl, so the Long Island boy meets the upstate New York girl. And it's funny because we met at the TV station. Dee, we may get into this a little later. Sorry if I'm jumping ahead.
Keep going. Go ahead. I remember I told you I'm not going to ask you a question. You're going to say it was good. I know you.
About that with me. I can be
Right now
concerned.
we're cutting out 4 other questions.
Yeah, no. And anyway, so but she was a part of the TV station. I remember like thinking like, oh, she's so sweet. There's no shot. Like I had no shot. I was way out of my league, right? And come to know it, I find out a few months later she had a crush on me. I was like, she has a crush on. Are you sure? Like, is something where like, and we're happily married, 5 years later, and it's been such a joy. But so anyway, that's it. That's what. Yes, to from Long Island to Oswego.
I love in your gold story, you won one of the gold awards a couple years ago, and you said the lake is what drew you, which sounds like a ridiculous answer, and yet every single person I interview mentions the lake.
The lake doesn't hurt. I mean, because when you don't know what Oswego necessarily is if you're not from upstate New York. So I just think of like a small town is what I thought of. Then you visit campus and you're like, this is stunning. Like you can see yourself being there. You can see yourself living on that campus. You can see yourself going to classes there. And so it was a big draw for me. Yeah. The lake is amazing.
So take me back. You graduated in 2017, so 2013 is when you're making this decision. Was there YouTube videos? Like how were you able to research online? Back in my day, all there was books.
So guidance counselors actually had like pamphlets of some schools, right? So I remember there was like a pamphlet of Oswego that you could see. But I was very fortunate. My grandparents actually drove me to all of the colleges that I applied to, and we did tours. Beautiful memories. And so we would do our little upstate. We went to Plattsburgh, and we went to Oneonta. We went to Oswego. Like it was really awesome time. And I remember Oswego stood way above them all, And even I remember even going to Syracuse, right? And no shame on that, love them, great school, I think. But and I just there was something about Oswego, whether it was the lake or the opportunities that I saw that you could have there. It was different than a school like Syracuse, and I was, very fortunate to be able to travel to sort of. I don't know if that's old fashioned now, but I think people do college visits still. So and they were amazing. I remember the admissions letter that I got, the package was more. It was more special than the other ones, and I really loved that.
Oh, that's so nice. I saw Hamilton last night, so I'm going to throw in a Young, Scrappy, and Hungry
Yeah,
reference right here. I think, and it's okay to love Syracuse, but this is an Oswego podcast, so
that's right.
that's all
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Props to our
yeah,
school.
yeah.
I had the kind of same experience with the radio station, and I want to throw this at you. Growing up in New York City, I didn't know that you could be on the radio
Mhm.
because everyone who was on the air in New York was so fantastic. They were the best of the best. And I didn't know that there was the ability to have a learning experience of starting out maybe not so good and getting better as time went on. So that was my experience, that I could walk into the radio station, not be great, and eventually by my senior year be okay.
More than okay, I'm sure, D.
So was that your experience when you said, wait a minute, I can walk into WTOP and suddenly I can, be hauling lines and doing camera work and showing up at the hockey game and being the main camera that's following the action?
I'll take it even one step further. I didn't know what I wanted to do in media and TV and broadcasting, and I didn't know. What was so great about WTOP, my experience with the College of Media and Arts, like is that we you have hands-on experience. For me, I was able to like refine. Oh, I didn't like being on air. I didn't want to do that. I didn't like that. I didn't love directing. I didn't necessarily love that. I didn't love, being a technical director, TD. I didn't. So I was like really refining what I did. I did like fixing things, which brought me more to like the engineering side of it. And my thought process was always, if I learn the engineering side, I'm learning the foundation of how everything works, which was very beneficial just in general to have sort of a little bit of a background in technology and understanding things. But to take it that one step further, I learned managerial skills. I learned how to work with different personalities. I learned how to have tough conversations because as general manager of WTOP, which I was able to do for 2 years, you're managing 200 to 300 college students in a fully student run, club organization. And you're managing those students, the health of WTOP. We would sell ads and try and get ad revenue from outside. So we were running a little sales team. We had a PR and marketing team. We had, engineering, creative team. Like, I'm I don't know, 20, 21 years old, doing all of this stuff, learning all this stuff. We had an e-board of like 6 or 7 leaders who all like were given tasks, and we would go through agendas every week. And it was incredible experience. And obviously now I use it all the time. I manage a team of 7 people, like, and we have tons of work to do. So like all of those things, I never thought, or at the time, I never really realized, but I learned that my actual trajectory was not necessarily be a camera operator. It was manage teams and build out great work and pursue excellence in what's now streaming now, but in whatever it was. I loved it. Also, sorry, one more thing. There was like, in corporate America, there's politics. It's just part of the journey. And you also learn, like, I had to learn, how do I navigate with Student Association, who oversees WTOP, and they provide funding for WTOP? How do I work with the college, who, we would film the graduations and we would film the sports games on behalf of the university? Could we negotiate some sort of pay for WTOP for, getting new equipment? Like, you're learning all these things. By the way, you only have, in many cases, 1 year to do it. I was lucky enough to have 2, so I was able to, like, really, we did a full SD to HD upgrade while I was there, which was really fun, really great experience. So all of those things together helped package like a ready to graduate 21-year-old who was like, okay, let's do it. So very lucky.
So I looked at your resume. In between, I believe, the years that you were still at Oswego, you were able to get an internship at the Seth Meyers show. And I imagine he still has a big place in your heart. You're seeing everything that's going on in late night right now. Does it break your heart a little bit to think maybe the budgets for those shows really isn't going to be there anymore?
Yeah, and this is all my opinion, but it is sad. I mean, regardless of your political affiliation, free speech is so important, and we want to, and the business of late night and the fun of late night, the allure of late night, where we talk about Saturday Night Live or Late Night with Seth Meyers or Jimmy Fallon or Kimmel, and as we tape this, Kimmel is currently suspended, and Colbert is now, it's on his last year. Like, it's changing, and how is it changing? Why is it changing? I think we could talk about stream, we could talk about YouTube. There's different things, but also I think those voices are important because they give opinions and they make people laugh, and there's some joy that they can bring, whether it's crazy stupid skits or it's funny joke, like, and I think so. It's changing. I don't necessarily agree with how it's changing. I would say, like, I think I loved Colbert's show. I thought it's amazing, and it is sad. And I was so lucky to get my internship with Seth. Very blessed. Like, it was my high school secretary's niece. I went back to my high school on Long Island because they needed help with a new camera that they got. So they called me up. This was like, I don't know, it was a year in. So I was going this sophomore year. It was the summer. Going there, I visited the school. I was a nice guy. I knew all the secretary. Like, I loved all of the staff at the high school. And I saw her and she's like, "Oh, Justin, how are you? How's school going? All this stuff." She's like, "Yeah, my niece is she's a production assistant at Late Night with Seth Meyers. I was like, what? That is so cool. And she immediately offered up. She's like, yeah, if you ever want to get coffee with her, let me know. And I was like, I would love that. I would love to get coffee. And that's how it happened. And then, she was able to get my they're very competitive, and that was it. By the way, that story is just like in our lives, you never know who can give you an opportunity or who knows somebody, and it's just an important piece on networking. But yeah, the late night's changing, whether we want it to or not, and it is something to mourn a little bit, I think.
I'm being older than you. There are things that have been changing as my life has gone on, and anytime I see a sizable shift starting to happen, I say, "Yeah, I miss the typewriters."
Yep.
Not like this is you're right, and I am mourning it too. When I say this, people look at me like I'm crazy. We've watched every single Colbert show from the Colbert Report all the way through. So we are super fans, and it is sad, and yet the adjustments we're going to have to make over the next 20 years are this is the beginning of it.
Mhm.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday about AI and how AI is going to change how much we do in the industry. Are you facing any of those changes right now?
You know, I would say that we're all going to face the challenges of AI. I have personally thought, like, how can I use AI to help do the mundane or very time consuming tasks? And I would challenge anybody listening to this, you know, I know it sounds scary. AI can even be politicized. It can be all these, but like, if you can use it in a way to help you, think of AI as like an intern. That's how I think of it. Like, what can I just give this AI to do that would take me time? I'm talking like changing video time codes to be drop frame or non-drop frame, format, right? Like, that's a very technical thing, but like, that's a mundane process. If you had to go through a Excel document with hundreds of them, AI can do it in seconds. So think of those. That's how I think of it. And that's how I challenge my team to think about it. Like, what are ways that your time is being taken up that you could give AI something? You can even give it a document and say, here's a document. I want you to analyze and call out any inconsistencies. Now you have to check it. It's not always accurate. It can hallucinate. There are disadvantages to it. Do not give it like critical, life-saving, you have to be smart with how you use it. But I would say that those who are fully against it, or it may catch up to you in some way eventually. Now listen, AI for creativity, taking away artistry, taking away, not for it, right? Like, there is something so special about a human soul creating. AI cannot do that. And we should be smart in not wanting it to, not allowing it to, not helping to draw guidelines and push legislation that helps to create, and sustain that. But it can, and it does help me with, just basic sort of admin work and thing, just different things of that nature. I could even say, AI, what's the tone of this email? Oh, Justin, that's coming across mean. Often my emails don't necessarily come across maybe too wordy. But like, but it can do that. Or, hey, make this more concise. I need to send this to a senior executive. I only need 2 sentences. It really can help with things like that. So I say adopt it cautiously.
That is great advice. Great advice. So back to your career, you get that internship at Seth's, and I noticed that the rest of your career is filled with NBCUniversal. Was the first job there because you had the experience at the Seth Meyers show?
No, no, my foot in the door. Seth was great. That was sort of a lucky situation, right? Um, uh, my foot in the door at NBCUniversal was through an alumni at Oswego, a former general manager who was a VP at the time, running the network operations center at 30 Rock. They needed operations coordinators to sort of do checklists work. Like this was like very entry level work. I met him because we interviewed him for like a WTOP last 50 years type documentary thing, and then I got to know him and I kept in touch with him, and he came to campus, all networking. And so he had an opportunity, and I was able to take it. I have a story too about like if there are any young students listening to this, people currently in college, like about starting at NBC outside of the Seth internship. My actual first job that I was supposed to do was different than my actual first job. I applied for a role there. I did 4 1-hour interviews on my birthday. It must have been June 1st, 2017. Did all these interviews. And I got a call that I got the job. And this was like an operations manager type job. So it was, a bit more experienced. So to get it right out of college was really cool. It was, at the time it was paying great money. I was like, this is, wow, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. Well, a week before I was supposed to start, they rescinded the offer. It was a contractor role. A week before I was I bought new shirts. I was like, so excited. I was on a rooftop bar in New York City celebrating with friends that we all got jobs, right? And I got that call at 6 p.m. on a Friday. I like go all the way down 45 floors, to the street. The taxis are honking, and this person is saying, yeah, I'm sorry, Justin, we have to rescind your offer. And I was like, taxi beeps. I'm like, I'm sorry, could you say that again? And say it again. Because it was crazy. It's at will employment, and then that stuff happens. And I remember feeling legitimately like devastated in that moment. Like now I have to go back up. I have to tell Kaylee, my girlfriend at the time, and our group of friends, like, oh, I actually don't have a job right now, a week before I was supposed to start.
Did they have a reason? Did they make a mistake that they thought you were more experienced?
Yes, I think it was that. I think folks realized that I was immediately graduate and I didn't have the proper experience required, which was it was disclosed. Like nobody, it wasn't like I was hiding that, so it was quite a bizarre situation. I think they felt remorse for it, of course. And 2 weeks later, they called me with a different role that was they wanted me to apply to. So it all worked out. But in that 2-week period where I did not know what was going on, I literally applied for jobs. I remember I knew somebody at a Chick-fil-A. I applied for Chick-fil-A. I did an interview at Chick-fil-A. They were like, you have to shave your beard off. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't think this is going to work out. They were like, we don't have beards here. And I was like, okay. Well, but I just go to show you, like, that was the grit I learned, right? Like the grit of like, okay, well, I need a job. I will do what I need to do to sustain and then apply for media job. Like I will just do whatever has to get done. I think that's an important piece. And I admire that when I see that through any candidate or anybody, that I get to meet, is just like that. You roll up your sleeves, you do what you have to do, and go on. So.
But what I like about that story, and I interviewed another actor, Tim Mullins, and I love that you both have said, I would do anything to get the job, except I won't do that. Like Tim didn't want to appear naked on camera. You're saying, I draw the line. This is my beard. This is my identity. And no, I'm not going to.
For a fast food job for, who knows how long, for a summer? No, I'm not. I'm not going to dream with my beard.
At that time, everyone laughs about it now because you're highly successful, a big executive NBC. But at that time, you were probably like, how am I paying my rent?
Oh, 100%. No, exactly.
How am I paying my rent? And is this, I'm sure in your mind, you might have said, oh God, is this the right decision? Do I really need this beard?
Yeah, no, for sure. But that was like the first interview thing that I did. And I was like, well, we can get a few more. I'll go to McDonald's. They won't make me shave. Like, whatever, I'll figure it out. So.
And you did tell me you worked at McDonald's as a teenager.
I started my career at McDonald's at 14 years old. I'll tell you what, I learned incredible customer service skills. They put me at the, taking orders, and, I learned good customer service. And you don't necessarily have to have great customer service at McDonald's, but I was able to like learn it at a young age and learn how to manage, order. And listen, it was a fantastic experience.
Is there something in your mind from that time that's still in there? Like, someone comes to the counter and they're angry, like, is there something, the trick that you learned at McDonald's that you're still using to this day?
Um, no, not necessarily, but I will tell you they like came out with oatmeal while I was there, like a new product, oatmeal. And I would work like the Saturday morning shifts where the senior citizens would always come in, and they loved how I made their oatmeal. It was just putting hot water, but they would always come to me. They would have a little line of senior citizens waiting for Justin to make their 14-year-old Justin to make their McDonald's oatmeal. And I just remember, like, I think it was more about like I was nice to them. I was talking to them. I like that they valued that, and sort of the human connection piece of it. So
No, Justin, seriously, what's your secret to the oatmeal?
yeah, I couldn't tell you. Love and joy.
So currently you are a network executive and you're working on the streaming side for NBC, Peacock. What was the trajectory? And I'm gonna guess that technology, your kind of love for technology might have had something to do with this.
Yeah, and network executive is very nice to say. I do not consider myself a network executive by any means, but
We're going with that. It's the Oswego podcast. I don't think anyone from NBC is going to watch this, so we're going with that.
I like it. It's an honor. Yeah, I started in broadcast linear operations. That role that I had, where I was in the network operations center in 30 Rock, like it was very like we're sending satellite feeds to our 200 affiliates, and they're getting them through their K-band, like, and I'm checking off that like the sales obligations are being met in prime time. That was very linear. This was at a time, 2017, like Netflix is moving. Streaming is becoming really prevalent. Media organizations at that time, legacy media, are just starting to launch their streaming services or announce their intent to. So I knew it was important. I knew that was really the future of where we're going, and I knew linear was casually declining. YouTube was gaining, it's the most watched platform. It's just gaining momentum. And so I knew that like linear was not necessarily where I always wanted to be, but digital it was important. It was where we're going. So I was a contractor role when I started. So you don't really get any benefits, you just get hourly pay. Then I saw there was a staff role at in Englewood Cliffs. They had a facility there for video on demand for set-top boxes. So like putting things up on Universal Kids on demand or E on demand, and you would go to your remote and you click free on demand and you watch your show. So I moved to that, which was more closer to the digital side. It's video on demand, kind of like streaming a little bit. And then I heard the intent for us to create a streaming service at NBCUniversal. So I raised my hand to my boss and my boss's boss, and I was like, I want to be a part of this. Like, what can I do? Before it was even barely minutes after it was announced, I was like, I'm in. Like, what do I need to do? And yeah, so I was so thankful to have an opportunity to join the team that launched Peacock for the company in terms of like fulfillment of all of the content to the platform. So, Peacock basically decided what they would want to put on the platform, what we had rights to, and then our team managed the fulfillment of that content. And I did that for a little while. We needed a team leader of that group. I went to my boss at the time. I was like, we need a team leader. Here's like a job description. Can I post it? And then she posted, and then I became the team lead of that group. While doing that, we're working with a ton of people on the business side. So I got to know like all of these people, and the person that we worked really close with, we had a great relationship. 10 set times is a lot of we're launching thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of content, and it had to be ready by a certain date, July 2025. Soft launch was April. Like we were, and by the way, this was COVID. This was like COVID. It was like a month. We were launching Peacock in COVID. It was crazy. We were all home. It was totally different. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment in Astoria. My wife is on meetings in the other room. I'm on meetings here. I remember, but work was so busy that I remember there were times where I would like look out the window and be like, what's going on out there? Nobody's out there. Oh wait, but I have to get this asset. Like it was a weird time. It was a weird time. Kayla and I got married like right in the midst of that too. So like we did like a soft launch Peacock in April 15th-ish, 2020. And Kayla and I got married April 20th, 5th, April 25th. April 25th. And so, and we, we were going to do a whole big wedding. We had it all planned, all this stuff. We said, why wait? Like, we did immediate family on my childhood backyard on Long Island. We got married. It was beautiful. 10
Are you
people
saying April 2020?
Yes. Yeah.
Justin, that's like when COVID is like big time. Everyone
Yes.
is sequestered. No one's leaving their house.
Promo, yes.
Wow.
Promo was like 10 people max in one place. So we could only have 10 people in the backyard. We had immediate family only. Haley's family drove down from Rochester. We, my grandparents were there masked up. Like we have pictures. It looks crazy. We did it, and it was this beautiful moment. So crazy story. Anyway, I don't even know where to go from there. But
The launch of Peacock. So now you're taking all of it, and I think I understand this. All of these deliverables are film assets. Film, Friends is recorded on film, okay? And so what Justin is doing at that point is converting these film, which is in your hand. I keep touching it, in your hand, into a digital asset. And you must have had a team that were converting all of these assets into digital pieces.
Yeah, and a lot of that actually was done already. Like what our fulfillment role really was is Peacock has a specification they need on their platform in order to play out video. So we have to get this content in a ready state with closed captioning as required, components, if there's other languages, things of that nature. And then it has to go through a system that is essentially transcoding the file out to a certain spec. That all takes time, and we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of files and new orders essentially coming in every day. So you're managing sort of the pipeline of order placement, is content ready? Okay, box that content up and send it, essentially, right? But doing it all digitally. So a lot of the restoration of that content was done already previously. So yeah.
And now I'm imagining all of that process is complete. Is your role now? I keep thinking about you being. This is why I'm calling you a network executive, because now the next step is talking about ads and ad placement, because there's a cheaper version of Peacock where you get served ads, and then there's a more expensive where there's no ads. And of course, the network executives probably are like, yeah, we'd like to serve more ads. So you're now involved in that?
So I didn't finish this part of the story. So I was, in the operation and technology arm of the company fulfilling this content. And then I moved to the actual business side and worked for Peacock at the time, and joined the partner solutions team, is what it's called today. And basically we then manage the relationship with all of our outside third-party content creators and folks who are licensing content from Warner Brothers, Disney, whomever, major studios, and then we manage the ingest and project manage the fulfillment of that content, but also that our marketing and programming and various other legal teams, like they all have what they need. That we work with on the relationship with those partners and providers and people who create original content for Peacock. We manage that. So I then joined that team, and so it's kind of a shift. It was a shift of like being very much more like technical and operational and getting these assets delivered to Peacock, to now managing our third party and original content creator relationships and the delivery of that content to us, and all making sure everybody internally knows when content has arrived, what it is it ready, and moving those things along. So So yes, but to get to your piece on monetization, of course, at the end of the day, all streaming is a business. It's a piece of pushing forward stockholder value, right? A crazy way to say it, but that ultimately is. So there's always going to be ways to think. Like Peacock, when Peacock launched, it was free as a birth, as was the saying. It was free. Then they have to monetize at some point. So then yes, you have to put in ad markers on the content to display on platform, and then you have different tiers, and then you try and expand the offering by, are you going to get sports rights? Are you going to get entertainment rights? Like, what are you going to create? Like, and you want to bring in paid subscribers, and then ultimately you want to, do whatever you can to maintain momentum and continue to get more subscribers. Yeah.
What is, we've just talked about a million things that could be part of your day, but I am curious, what are you doing on your average day?
Oh, what I love about this job is it changes every day. One day a show is delivering late that launches that night, and I'm on the phone with post-production teams and our internal teams as how can we, what emergency situation do we have to enact to get this content launching on time, or we have to alert the social teams and tell them, hey, this content's not going to launch on time. You have to tweet or whatever you do nowadays, put an Instagram post up, and I should know that. Put a TikTok out.
You got it. Good for you.
So it's always changing. Other days it's just project management. We're making sure that content is coming in. It's as it's supposed to, that it's getting the group that's doing the ingest and fulfillment has what they need, that the next client and the next distributor is all as well there, and they're on track to deliver their thing. So it changes. It changes.
I imagine that you consume streaming shows on other platforms as well. Yes, he's shaking his head. Yeah. So I'm gonna throw one at you from one of your competitors just to kind of highlight an example. What I've been really interested in is the show Wednesday, less for a consumer part. I enjoy the show, but what they've done with Wendy's, there's been a collaboration where they turned a Wendy's into a Wednesdays. And the brand partnership has just been really incredible. And I could just imagine, because I've been in media, the meeting that sat down between Wendy's and Netflix and said, okay, what can we do? And anything is available. The sky is the limit. So I imagine you get called into those kind of meetings where we have a client and they want to do something.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing too, the company is so large, right? So we have individualized teams who are like specialized in like partnerships like that. And also we have, I guess I don't know for sure, but I'm sure large companies all have like agencies that will come up with these ideas. My wife works at one where you come up with the ideas and then pitch it to your client, and then you all get in the same room and the agency is saying, guys, this would be great. Peacock did an incredible one with Duolingo, where we had like the Duolingo thing on Love Island, and did like a Love Island, like the Duolingo was part of the villa on Love Island, and it was pretty funny. I think it got some accolades for that. But yes, I mean, I'm involved when there's long form video that's going to come from a partnership. So if like our team really just handles the long form video on demand Peacock piece, like everything that you watch on Peacock that's not live, our team is working on. So things outside of that, partnership strategies, things of that nature, there's all different teams in a company that does some of that stuff. But yeah, we get pulled in occasionally. I just have a great time with that stuff, because a lot of those decisions already get made by our executives and strategy teams, and I just have the fun job of executing and making it happen. So
wait a minute, I said you were an executive.
Well,
I will move off of your career. I just want to give you the opportunity, because you're a Peacock guy, to have our platform and go ahead and give a mention to something that needs a little viewer, a little oomph. What should we be
Listen,
watching? What should we be watching on Peacock?
it just launched recently. It's called The Paper. It's from the creators of The Office. It is basically the documentary film crew from The Office. Years later, is now following a dying paper in Toledo, Ohio. Yeah, Toledo, and the Toledo Truth Teller. And I really like it. I got to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are going to be like, "What?" I wasn't the biggest fan of The Office, Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, those legacy NBCU comedy. It just wasn't my thing. The Paper, though, I'm into, and so I I don't think it's gotten the attention it deserves as a show. I think it's really funny, and it's one of those lighthearted things you can put on in the background, or you can watch it intently and you will laugh. Like my wife and I have been laughing at it, and so that's great. Poker Face is amazing with Natasha Lyonne. It's a drama. I love it. It's like a crime drama, and each episode is sort of different. And Natasha's amazing. So yeah, those are my recs right now. I would, yeah.
People didn't get to see me off camera going
Yeah.
crazy over Poker Face. I love it. Anyone in my age bracket will remember Columbo,
Mm.
the crime of the week, and Columbo coming back and saying, "Hey, I think I noticed that you didn't eat a burger that night." And it's just, she has perfect memory and she's such a great, great character. Poker Face, Poker Face, Poker Face. Please,
Yeah.
please watch it. And
Yeah.
if you love Poker Face, then I'm going to definitely check out The Paper. All
Yeah.
right, we're here to sell some seats for the Comm dinner. So let's talk about that. Back to Oswego. Comm dinners in the past. Have you been?
I went as a student. Amazing networking opportunity. Highly recommended. Tickets are $10 only for students. A little bit more pricey for us alumni who have jobs. And even if you don't have a job and you're an alumni, that's okay. You can probably still scrape up a few bucks to go, and maybe get a job after being there because you networked. Yes, I went as a student. I had a great time. It was amazing to meet people and build out the network. Yeah.
Any fond memories or memories that just make you laugh from any
Oh,
of
yeah.
the Comm dinners in the past?
I just remember, like, prestigious alumni getting up there on the stage and rallying everybody with like an emotional call to donate to the benefit of our school and the benefit of our university. And I was like, that's crazy. Like you just go up there and they would, just go off. And I was like, that's true love for Oswego. And I was always impressed by that. But no, it was so great to hear stories. You were hearing, there's such experience in that room from, the way that TV was, 50 plus years ago to how it is now. And you get people that are like legacy network executives to people working streaming that aren't executives. um, but you really, yeah, it's really a joy to be there and network and just chat with people and meet them.
Yes, I met an ABC executive at the not at the last Comm dinner, but one of the events. You were at it at a speaker's table, and I was like, "Oh my God, we have an ABC executive here! This is so cool." My favorite Comm dinner story, and for the kids in my year in the 80s, so there's always a featured speaker, and all I have to say to my friends is I think I'll leave this guy's name out of it, but he got up and did a speech, and I think he didn't get the memo of what the speech was about, and he reviewed every class that he ever took at Oswego,
Oh
starting
wow.
starting in freshman year and going all the way to senior year.
Holy smoke.
So whenever we get together for the commentary, I mean, like, talk about memorable. We're
How
still
long did
talking.
that take?
It took a long time.
I bet.
Yes, a lot of people going to the bar.
Yeah, nobody played him off with music.
No, there was no music. No one had an iPhone back in this day. So, but always a fantastic opportunity. I remember I got a chance to meet Al Roker at a Comm dinner. I'd never met him before. And of course, at the press box, because that's where all the really good networking happens.
Mhm.
And so yeah, that was an amazing time, and he absolutely was lovely. Steve Levy, I know from my time at Oswego. He was actually my sportscaster.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I have tapes of him, but I just keep them under wraps. He pays me for that.
Yeah, it really does. That's funny.
Steve Levy with the sports. Um, but he's just fancy. So, I mean, our most famous alum are fantastic and lovely people because that's who we are. And yet, the people that you meet, I love Justin's story about the secretary at the high school. You could meet somebody and they seem like they're nobody, and then all of a sudden you find out they're a network executive.
Yeah, yeah. It's it
Uh,
is it is a great place to be. Yeah.
the other amazing thing that's happening is the Hewitt Union is open
Yes.
now, but for many alum, we are going to see the new version of the building. Have you gotten a chance to go in yet?
I got a chance to take a tour this summer as they were finishing it up, and it looks beautiful. It is not the Hewitt you remember if you have not seen it since. It is bright and lively, and I'm so excited to go there when students are there and just see people like in group projects or whatever. Like I just cannot wait for that. I think it's a really collaborative space. It also just shows like Oswego's not slowing down. They're not stopping. They're not pumping the brakes. They're not taking it like we're full speed ahead, folks. Like we've got an uh, uh, incredible faculty and staff and now facility uh, that like is full speed ahead. And so it really excites me as an alum, and it makes me tell anybody whose students are looking or interested in these fields, like don't miss out on Oswego, not only for the value, but for the education and hands-on experience you will get.
I got the tour from I got the same tour that you did. And one of the things that really struck me was in the basement, there is a whole room devoted to gaming where students will be producing games because that is the next area that we're going to be looking for talent. And I was just, completely shocked that, of course it's got to be in the basement because you just put your headphones
Right,
on and do your
right, right.
thing, do your
Yeah.
coding. And the collaboration that we talk about between our department, and obviously our department now is collaborating, is all one with the theater department, but they talked about collaboration with computer programming because you're not doing a game unless you know how to computer program. And
Right.
I just love that. Putting it all together to try and make sure that when students leave, they have a track that they can follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we're doing a good job at it. I think, by the way, that's where the alumni board can come in, and we didn't really talk much about the board, but helping to clarify and bring in and identify other alumni or folks that are in some of the more specialized majors or minors that we have in Oswego, and like bringing those people back and getting them involved is like really important and helps with that pipeline. Yeah.
October 25th is the Comm dinner. In case you want to get your tickets right now, they're available online. I think we're allowed to mention there is also going to be a radio station takeover.
Mhm.
You get to do some time on air for a small donation to go to the radio station to help pay for some of their programming. So I've already signed up.
We love
Shocker.
that. And I know there's also going to be open house to see Hewitt, and it'll be a great time. I will be there. Dee will be there. What else do you need?
And we will make you laugh.
That's
All
it.
right. Justin, the last question we always give people is if you were to win an Oscar, for you, it would be an Emmy. So we'll switch it over. If you were to win an Emmy, and you were on stage, who from Oswego, it could be students or teachers, who would you like to thank for your success?
That's it. What a cute question. I love that. I would thank, oh my gosh, so many people. I would thank Jennifer Knapp. She's now the dean, but then she was professor of Comm 101. It was the first class I ever took, 9 in the morning. I'm a nervous freshman, and Jen's class was not necessarily easy, but the foundation of communication 101 was critical and helped build a foundation that only helps you. And I would thank her. I would thank folks like David Moody and Michael Rickey, and even President Stanley, like there were opportunities that I had to do Roquethon, like through her leadership. Like I had, there's way too many people to I mean, there were staff members that I got to know, like Michael Pastella and just so many people. I would be up there fluttering my whole way, by the way, because I would be like, oh, and this person, and they would absolutely be playing the music, and they would I would
And
be like dragged off because I'm like, oh wait, and this person, and
and the Boys and Girls Club would have $0.
yeah, you would have no money, and if you don't know, that was in the last.
That was in the last Emmys.
It's such a joy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was a joy, and I'm so glad that our board now has somebody of your caliber. All right, Phil, you were a great president. We love you.
Oh, no, great. Phil, you're great.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to be a member of the board under your leadership. I think we're going to have a lot of fun and do a lot of great work because we're all very much student focused. We want to bring more value to the students who are on our campus in any way that we can. And so that I believe that's going to be our focus, right?
It is. We are all about making Oswego well known for our students, well known for our alumni, where they can pour back in and give back. And you can do that a number of ways. Of course, you can give money, but it's more than that. You can give your time, your passion. And who doesn't want to just help a student that needs something, right? Like we're just talking basic things. So I'm excited. We got great things coming, Dee.
And if you're a student and you want to reach out to Justin, I know that you're on LinkedIn. Do you want to give an email address?
Yeah, justindobrow@gmail.com. Hit me up.
All right. And if you'd like to reach out to us with guest ideas, you can always find us on Facebook or LinkedIn or email us at alumni@oswego.edu. We're always looking for ideas from our over 95,000 alumni. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Dee Perkins with the Oswego Alumni Podcast.